What's up, y'all? Welcome back to a new episode of In Totality. I am your host, Megan Ashley. If this is your first time watching, welcome. Thank you for joining me. I don't know what brought you here. I would love to know what brought you here. You can put it in the comment below. I would love to know what brought you here, but whatever brought you here, I'm happy that you're here. I'm happy that the Lord made a way for you to be a part of this episode. Do me a favor. If you're new, or even if you aren't new, maybe you've been watching this episode or watching this podcast for a few episodes, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. Do me a favor. Do it right now. Before I even continue this episode, go hit the subscribe button. Also, just so you guys know, if you're looking for a healthy community, people who are seeking the Lord and wanting to have a community of people who want to know him better and live according to his standards, all the things, make sure you join my Patreon community, where you get exclusive content, bonus content. You get the podcast before anybody else gets it. You get so many things. We have a book club, Bible study, all the things. So if you're looking for a healthy community, make sure you join my Patreon. The description and the link will be in the description below. But yeah, today, I know you noticed that I have this black attire on, this black hoodie on. And now black is still one of my favorite colors, but I have this on for a reason, because the guest that I have today has kind of been known for his black hoodie. Like, he just wears a black hoodie in all of his videos. And so if you know, then you know. But for those of you who don't, I would love to introduce to you Jason Jackson to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
I told them, I sit on the couch. I'm like, this really the couch. I saw this on TV. I'm looking at the plants, everything. Like, this really it off TV. Like, I was watching it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I'm going to just be honest. Like, I'm here for all the supporters, all the people that watch, because, like, to me, this is a dream come true.
Oh, really?
So I'm going to be, it's like I'm representing them.
Aww.
You know what I mean? Because I know how they feel. I know how they think. Like, I'm going to be out here for y'all.
That's
you know what
crazy.
I mean?
It's crazy that I remember you were saying when I talked to you last week, you were like, I watched your podcast and I said I was going to be on this podcast.
I brought this just for you. Look, read the bottom goal and read the date first at the top.
Okay, so this is January 22nd, 2024, and literally 41 says be a guest on Megan Ashley's podcast.
Yes,
that is so
I'm telling you,
crazy.
It's crazy to me but I know, like, once I write something, I'm fully confident, and I pray about it. I'm fully confident that God is going to bring it through.
Yeah.
Like, I don't ever, if I write it, I truly believe it. Like, I'm not just writing something that's like, it sound good. Like, no, I really believe it.
So what made you want to be on this platform? Because there's so many platforms. And number one, I'm a female, so it sometimes can lend itself to, like, only women watch my podcast, which is not true. I have a lot of males that watch my podcast too. But what was it about In Totality that was like, oh, I want to be a guest on that platform?
You just, like, it was real and authentic. You know, I could tell, like, your stuff wasn't just for clicks. And no knock to anybody else out there, but, like, there was never a video that I scrolled on, even on Instagram, that it was like, she just trying to get some likes off this. Or, like, she just trying to get a particular guest to come on by saying this thing. It's like, that's real, that's authentic, that's raw. I'm trying to be a part of that. And
I love that.
I was just, and I don't know, I had just not too long before I started following you, because I reached out to you on Instagram and I was like, keep doing your thing. Like, it was just like the fan in me is like, just keep doing your thing. I'm so happy just to have something to watch and go to, because I know it's not much out there for the believer and for the person who's trying to live their life right. And so I was like, man, I just want to shine a light in her direction, like, because my audience, there are people on your platform that don't know me, mine that don't know you. And I'm like, if I can show people this, I know I'm leading them in the right direction, because you've led me in the right direction.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
No doubt. No problem.
I really appreciate that. So you're known for this black hoodie, and we'll get into that.
Yep.
But tell us about you, Jason, like where you come from, your story. You shared a little bit with me, and I was fascinated by all that you've experienced, and you're only 22.
22.
Which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
That you're so young, but when you told me your story, I was like, oh my gosh, you've been through a lot.
Yeah.
And had to really grow up at a young age. So tell us more about just who you are. And
yeah, so I grew up small town in East Texas. I graduated with 42 people in my high school class. It was
that's small.
1,300 people in the town. And like still today, you can ride through depending on the time of day it is or the time of year, and people still riding horses as cars and lawnmowers as cars and stuff.
Really?
Like that. Yeah. Like that's a common thing. And I didn't know that wasn't normal until I got to college and I like started exploring. Like a big city to me is like 13,000 people. That was
wow.
I was like, oh, y'all don't like ain't nobody riding horses down here. Like that's how I just thought life was.
Wow.
And so I grew up in that environment. When I was 8 months old, my dad got sentenced to 20 years to life in prison. The day that I started crawling, it was April 2nd, 2002. And so my mom had me and my older brother. He's a year and a half older than I am. And like she was left to do everything by herself. Both of my parents were drug dealers. They both used drugs. And it was never anything like growing up that I looked at them and I frowned upon because knowing the environment that they come from, it's like this is the way that they thought that's how you get money. You know, it's a small town. You don't have opportunities for jobs and stuff. So they see people coming in with the fast money, like they want to get their hands on something too. And so eventually, you know, it caught up to them and things like that. And so my mom was working, she was a janitor at the school. And for, I could say probably 9-10 years of my life, that's what she did. She was a janitor at the school. And I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I didn't have any perception like, oh, I don't want people to know that's my mama.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm at school and I get to see my mama every day. So I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And not knowing, like, just experiencing life now, like I could only imagine the stuff that she was going through mentally. Like, you know, knowing that all these teachers here, like I was friends with them or like they taught me and now they see me as a janitor. And she was like very, very, she still is very, very smart. My father as well. My dad's probably like the smartest person I've ever met in my life. And just to like kind of put myself in their position and be like, man, because my dad got sent, like he went to prison at the age that I am now. And it's like, man, his life was completely different. And he tells me all the time, like, you were exactly what I wanted to be.
Wow.
And it's crazy because I look at him and I'm like, you're still what I want to be in spite of everything that you went through and all of that. But yeah, so I was raised in a single mother household and I got 2 brothers on my mom's side, 1 on my dad's side. And one thing that really kind of sparked my story, I could say, is when I was 5 years old, I remember this like it was yesterday. There are only 2 roads in my hometown. There's the highway and there's a service road. And we usually took the service road home. It's like by all the schools and all this type of stuff. And me and my brother noticed that we were taking the highway home. And on the side of the highway is Dairy Queen. It's like we got like 2 restaurants in the town. And that was one of them at the time. But we noticed that we were taking that way and we were like, Mama, can we go to Dairy Queen? Like we were in the backseat excited and stuff. And I just remember her, I was looking at her through the rearview mirror and like I asked twice. I remember me vividly asking twice. My older brother, he kept asking and I could see like almost like the disappointment on her face. And so I stopped and I just kind of sat back in the seat and she was like, we were approaching it and she said, I can get it for y'all, but all I got is $8. I remember her saying that, and we went to Dairy Queen. She got us a chicken strip basket and 2 ice cream cones. This before inflation, because you probably couldn't even get that.
I mean, like, nowadays,
crazy.
nah.
Yeah. So she got that for us, and I remember sitting there, and like I couldn't even enjoy my food. Like I'm in kindergarten, I couldn't enjoy my food because I'm thinking like just imagine how much money she got left now.
Yeah.
So I remember as a kid, I would go every opportunity that I got. I would go to my grandparents' neighborhood because they had just moved and there was like some wealthier people over there. And I would like find ways. We would go rake leaves and my cousins and stuff, they would get the money. They would pay us like $5, $3, something like that. And at the time, that was a lot of money. And they would take it to like the snack bar at school. They're like, man, we're going to get to go get snacks tomorrow. Me, I was like, if I can get this $5, I know my mama said she had 8, so I can give her this 5 and then she'll be close to what she had. So every opportunity that I got, I tried to do that. And eventually, when I was 11 years old, that's whenever I moved out. In essence, I didn't like pack all my stuff up and go to some other place, but I was explaining it to you like this: how you stayed a night at your friend's house, but you live with your mama or your parents. I was staying with my mama, or I was living with my friends and staying at my mama's house every now and then. And that was because I felt like if I could take just a little bit of the burden off of her, then I would be doing something. Like, not that she ever told me I was a burden, but I just felt it. Like, I never asked for anything. You can ask my mama to this day. Like, she still get upset sometimes because I'm the child that I don't ask for nothing. I'm the middle child. I just have that stereotype of like, I want to do everything by myself and all of that. And I never like asked for clothes, video games. But if it's anything that I ever do ask for, she try her hardest to get it because she like, you never asked me for nothing. So I want to try my best. So from that point forward, from 6th grade all the way through my senior year of high school, I was just living with different friends and different cousins and stuff. And then once I got to college, it was my first time away from home. I had just turned 18, like a few days before I went to college. And so 17, 18-year-old out here in the world now. I'm in Missouri. I'm 8.5 hours away from home. I come from like a less fortunate family, so I don't have no car. I didn't get my first car until I was, I think, 20.
Wow.
And so like everything that I wanted to do, it was like you got to make friends to do it. And so I'm 8.5 hours away from home with no one there, no friends, no family, nothing, no transportation. And the only person that I knew had known me for my whole life was God. I was like, he's been knowing me for this long. I feel like it's time for me to start getting to know him now.
Wow.
And that's what kind of triggered my relationship. But this may sound crazy, but I tell people, I feel like I truly gave my life to Christ in the club. I was 18 years old. Being a college football player and all the things, all the stereotypes that come with it is like, you're supposed to be the star on the field and then be the star in the club and have all the girls do all these things and be bad in the classroom.
Right.
But that was never me. Like, I've never smoked. I drank one time in my life. I was 14. Oh my gosh. I was 14 years old, just out here like, what am I doing? And it's the same feeling I had when I was in the club that day, because I never partied. Like, we weren't partiers and stuff like that. It wasn't no party to go to in my town. It was like a bonfire or something. And so I went, and the first time it was like, oh, this is cool. Like, this is dope. The second time I went, I was like, this ain't really what I thought it was. And the third time it hit me, it's like, this actually isn't cool. It's just an environment that you haven't been exposed to yet. And you think that it's cool because other people say it is. And so I just kind of sat there for a minute, and it was like a That's So Raven moment. Like, I was just like zoned in. I had like a vision, and I was just sitting there like, what am I doing? It was like everything was almost like slow-mo. And people around me dancing and everything, they having a good time, but I'm just standing there and I'm looking, and not to be conceited, but almost as if once you have a vision for what life is supposed to be, you automatically just disassociate yourself from people and places that aren't in alignment with that. So I was standing there and I was like, these people are not even supposed to be around me. Like, this is not where I'm supposed to be at, you know? So boom, I was like, God, I got to do what's right. I got to start following you. I walk out the club. My dorm is like three miles away. I'm just walking. My teammates don't even ask where I'm at, where I'm going, nothing. And so I'm walking. I'm like, what am I doing? That's not where I'm supposed to be. So I get home. I get to my dorm, and I'm a big Duck Dynasty fan. Like, just growing up in the country, that was kind of my like safe haven where I would watch whenever I was missing home and all that stuff. And I typed in Sadie Robertson. If y'all don't know Sadie Robertson, y'all got to go watch her.
Dope. Yeah.
She dope.
I like Sadie.
Like, she's
very sweet too.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I say she, like, I don't want to say she saved my life because I know it was the Lord, but, you know, God uses people.
Yeah, for sure.
And she was that person for me. And if I ever, it's two people, like her and Lecrae, like they did some crazy for me. Anyways, though, I'll get going on that. So I get to my PlayStation. I'm trying to watch like Duck Dynasty and stuff. And I type in her name, and I'm thinking that it's her talking to students about the show. It says Sadie Robertson message to college students or something. She had on a Georgia Bulldog shirt, and she was telling the parable of the prodigal son, the lost son. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is a good Bible story. Cool. And I had always knew God. Like, I had always knew of God, but I didn't have an intimate relationship with him. And she got to the end of the story, and she was like, the story doesn't hit home until you realize it's talking about you. You've been out in the pit with the pigs, doing things you shouldn't be doing, coming from a father like yours. And it was just like that very moment. I had just lived that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And so right then and there, this October 3rd, 2019, I stopped cussing. I stopped like doing all the things that I was associating myself with to look cool. I stopped doing it. And then I was like, I don't care. Like, people always called me lame, like all my life. And I was like, I'm gonna embrace it now. And I'm just, I got my own brand to represent. I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm the youngest person on the team. So like, I'm not gonna allow myself to be influenced by the crowd when I know it's something that I wanna do that's a lot bigger than myself.
Yeah.
So that's what got me started and transferred to Ouachita Baptist University in Arkansas.
Okay.
After my freshman semester, I'm playing football there now, and I met my mentor, who was like, I'm not saying God made no mistakes, but if he was alive during the Bible times, I truly believe he would have either had a book or he would have been one of the disciples.
Okay.
He a counselor, but Keneal, he gonna watch this too. But he's like one of those people, you could be like, man, I'm going through this right now, I'm dealing with this. He give you the best conversation ever. And then you'd be like, man, I didn't know I needed that.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, that's in the Bible. That's blah, 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 blah. Like, you don't even know he just gave you a full sermon the whole time. And so I met him. He was the resident director of my building, the dorm I was living in. And I walk in, and from his explanation, he was like, he said, I knew it was something about you when I saw you. He said, you just had a different glow about you. And he was like, I've only seen one other person with that glow, and I knew it when I saw it. And so me and him got close. COVID happened. We got out of school for a while, but we stayed in contact. And then the next year he was like, do you want to be an RA, a resident assistant? I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And so I was living by myself too. I got the chance to live by myself. I wasn't really a roommate person because I'm real clean. Like, I don't do no dirty stuff. So he gave me that opportunity, and from there I was like, I want to strengthen my relationship with God. And that's whenever he got me on my journey. And that's what really sparked it. But man, last year's what did it.
That's when things got real crazy. So before we get into that, when you were telling me your story, I thought it was just so fascinating that the Lord really gave you like a heart and to be sensitive at a very young age. You know what I mean? For you to feel something, or even to notice the look in your mom's eyes at 5 years old, to say, okay, her response to what I'm asking for is provoking a response in me, and to be mindful of her, and to have there's so much maturity that I see in your story going back to 5 to 11. Do you feel that the Lord was preparing you for something even at that young age of were you aware that what you were feeling was from God? Or did you not know?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah.
At the time, I didn't know. Because, I mean, to me, it was just like, I thought everyone was doing this. Like, all of my friends, I thought when we get out of school and everybody go home, like, I remember from when I was like 5 to 9, because I had a little brother. My mama had just had my baby brother. So it was like, we going home. And then I got younger cousins and stuff too. So when we get out of school, we go home, we help raise the kids, and then you can go play and all that type of stuff. And then sometimes you take turns, like you take care of the kids this day, and then like I'm going outside to play today, and then tomorrow is we had shifts. You know what I mean? So I thought all my friends was going home doing this. Until I got to stay with my friend for the first time, because I don't know if it's just a black parent thing, but you don't really get to stay at your friend's house and stuff like that.
For sure. Yeah, we don't trust anybody.
So I go to my friend's house out of school. It's a school night. And I'm like waiting for him to, take care of his brothers and do all this stuff. But I see his parents doing it. And I'm like, wait, this ain't you ain't gotta take care of them and all this type of stuff. He's like, no, let's go play. And that opened my eyes up to a whole different reality. And that same friend was the same exact friend that he was the first one that I started living with, Tristan Jameson. We was football player, he was a quarterback, I was a running back. So I remember, and I just got myself out of this mindset maybe a few months ago. We go to his house, or we watching a movie in the car, you know how the screens in the back seat. And it was The Game Plan with The Rock on there. It was a football movie.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And so we watching it, and he got his big mansion and all of that. And I see his refrigerator, and I watch this movie a lot, so I know that scene is approaching. And I say, bro, you know what I'm gonna get when I get rich? He said, what? I said, I'm gonna get me a refrigerator that's silver with the double doors and the big thing on the bottom. I didn't know it was a freezer at the time. So I'm telling him, like, I'm gonna get that when I get rich. And his mama, like, she driving, she laughed a little bit. And I was like, what's funny? Like, I'm being for real, that's what I'm gonna get. And so we pull up to his house and he had a brick house. So automatically I thought he was rich. Because the house that I grew up in, like, literally is on like cinder blocks. That's what held it off the ground. Like one strong gust of wind, we on the floor.
Really?
Yeah. So anytime like I saw somebody with a brick house, like even up until like this year, I thought like, oh, you rich.
Wow.
Because that's just how I always thought growing up. But I walk into his house. First of all, I get out the car and I'm like, this your house? And they like laughing a little bit. And so you walk in through like the laundry room, then boom, you hit a left. And then it's his kitchen. And so first thing I see is their refrigerator, the silver doors and the big thing on the bottom. That's what hit me. I was like, I couldn't hold my composure. I just dropped my bag and I was like, y'all rich? It was like,
not y'all rich.
Like, he was like, no, we're not rich. We just got a new refrigerator or whatever. And so that's something that carried me forever. But I don't think that it was ever something that I knew was from God. I just was always like open to other people's feelings. 'Cause I was sensitive when I was little. So I could tell like emotions easy.
Yeah. And I can identify with that. I feel like I was always really sensitive to stuff at a very young age. And getting older, I know now that was just God, you know, that's how he created me, and what he'll use later on once it's matured and he's refined it a little bit more. But when you said that you went to college, you said that you wanted to get to know God. He had always known you. You knew of him, but you wanted to know more of him. Like you wanted to really know him. So what was your first introduction to knowing the Lord? Like, did you know him when you were little, or you were introduced to Christ at a young age? Yeah. What was that like?
We were a family that, you know, I know people that actually grew up in church. Like they had every single service, Wednesday night, everything. I wouldn't say I grew up in church. I grew up around a church.
Okay.
And not to knock anyone else, but I feel as though I was taught the religious aspect of it and not the relational aspect.
Yeah.
So I was taught like, don't question God, which now as I've gotten older, I've realized like that's a misinterpretation of scripture.
Because he actually like doesn't mind.
Yeah.
He's not intimidated.
Jesus was on the cross questioning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I knew who God was. Like I knew Jesus Christ. I knew Father God. I knew the Holy Spirit. But I didn't understand what that meant for me. I just knew you the creator, you better believe in him or you going to hell. Like that's how I thought.
That was it.
And so once I started cultivating that relationship, it was more so like I want to understand the creator. I want to understand more about the creator, not just what he created, being myself. And I feel like sometimes people can get so conceited in like self-consumption that it's like you miss out on everything that God is trying to show you because you're trying to find yourself. When really you're going to find yourself when you lose yourself. That's when you find yourself the most.
Yeah.
Like when you let go of the things that you find identity in,
Yeah.
that's when you find who Christ is.
Yeah. Okay, listen up. Are you that one friend that loves to treat yourself? It's okay. Honestly, we all do it. You know, get a pedicure, opt for that 10-minute foot massage with the green tea infused lotion, refuse to make coffee at home because there's a fancy coffee shop right downstairs, or opt for that extra legroom seat on the plane because your vacation starts like now. Well, if you treat yourself to the top options with everything in your life, then why settle when finding a doctor? It is your health after all. Enter Zocdoc, the place where you can find and book tens of thousands of top-tier doctors with all verified patient reviews. So don't settle, go for the best and find the right doctor for you. With Zocdoc, you've got more options than you know. You can filter specifically for ones who take your insurance, located near you, treat almost every and any condition you're searching for. These doctors all have verified reviews from actual real patients, not robots. I use Zocdoc and you should too. Zocdoc is a free app and a website where you can search and compare highly rated in-network doctors near you and instantly book appointments with them online. We're talking about in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers across every specialty, from mental health to dental care, eye care to skin care, and much more. Plus, Zocdoc appointments happen fast, typically within 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even score same-day appointments. Listen, stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to Zocdoc.com/totality and find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/totality. Zocdoc.com/totality. Now let's get back to the show. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So at what age were you aware that, or did it happen when you were in school where you were like, okay, I think I was just churched?
When I was 21 last year.
So last year. So what happened last year? Because everything about your life has been different since last year.
Yeah, definitely. So last year, I graduated college December of 2022. Mm-hmm. I break up with my girlfriend like 2 days before that.
Oh, yeah, I remember you telling me.
Yeah, break up with my girlfriend 2 days before that. And so I moved to Houston, Texas, and it's January 6th. And one thing, I'm like very good with dates. I don't know why, but I'll be
you be knowing the dates. Yeah. You said it was this day or this time. Okay.
Yeah, so January 6th, I moved to Houston, start my job January 9th. Quit the job January 25th.
Okay, so not even there a month.
Not there a month. 2.5 weeks.
Wow.
And I have no family there, no friends. Same thing as college. Mm-hmm. No backup plan, like I'm gonna go do this. You know, it was like, I just know this ain't for me.
Yeah.
I go into work every day and I just felt like everybody was like a robot. Like they just sit on their computer sending emails and they like, hey, did you get this?
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no way y'all enjoy life like this. Like, and I come from college football, like everything is community. I got people I can go to and all of this stuff. So I quit my job and I kind of funnel into depression. It's not kind of, I do funnel into depression because it's the first time in my life where I had been faced with adversity that my network couldn't fix and my net worth couldn't fix because I ain't had no money. And like, I had a credit card that was one rent payment away from being maxed out and then like $0 in the bank. And so I start like kind of spiraling downwards. And that ex-girlfriend that I had at the time, previously before I was with her, and this is not a knock to her, but she was involved in some stuff that I kind of helped her stray away from and get on the right journey. And I just started thinking like, I know once I leave or now that I'm gone, she gonna start getting back into these things. So I didn't even want to be in a relationship with her. But out of the kindness of my heart and just wanting better for her, I was like, you know what, man? I'll do it. Like,
you felt like you were obligated.
I felt
to help
like
her.
Yes, exactly. So I text her January 31st, and I'm like, "Hey, just checking in." Not just checking in. I was trying to get back with her, and then
you said not just checking in. I was actually trying to get back with her. Okay.
And so I'm going through all of that or whatever. Then February 6th comes and I'm like still having these conversations with her. At the time, I'm broke. Like, and when I say broke, y'all, I don't mean broke like I was barely paying my bills. Like I had $0. That's why like can't nobody tell me nothing about what God can do because I've seen it. But anyways,
that part.
Text her February 6th, get here. This is the lowest day of my life. Like I'm depressed. I haven't cried in 8 years. I cried this day. The last time I cried was when I tore my ACL, October 5th, 2015, just to be exact. But
yeah, you know them dates for sure.
But, I'm crying because I was like, I had prayed right before I got on the phone with her, and I was like, hey, you know, I was kind of thinking about us, and maybe we should get back together. But the prayer I prayed was, God, if this ain't for me, let me know. She said something along the lines of, you just take this God stuff too serious. I'm hurt. It tore me up from the flow up.
Dang.
So I hang up the phone, whatever, and then I text her again, and I was like, can we talk again later? And I was gonna tell her like, you know what, I'm cool on all of that. I was gonna tell her like the prayer and all this stuff. She said, cool, we can talk later. Later, get here. She said, I'm going to sleep early tonight, actually. Won't be able to talk. You're not going to sleep early. I know when you go to sleep, you're not going to sleep early. So I sent her this big long message saying, thank you so much for all that you've done for me, all of this and that. And then I get to the end of the message and I said, as far as me reaching out to check on you, you may never hear from me again, but you'll always hear about me. Sent. Very arrogant. I would not recommend that. I would not tell y'all to do that.
But very arrogant. Yes, don't do that.
Don't do that, please. But at the time too, I had just made my social medias. So TikTok and Instagram, that stuff just got created January 2nd, 2023. I had 0 followers. So I'm sending her this message like I'm somebody, and in theory, I'm nobody yet.
Yeah.
Like nobody knows me.
Yeah.
And so I sent it, and I had been, if you go on my TikTok and scroll to the very bottom, you'll see I was making video diaries to myself. That's how all of this started. I was trying to talk myself out of the depression that I was going through, just to look back on and see that God got me through it whenever I'm going through something in the future.
Yeah.
And I posted, that happened February 6th. February 11th, I'm at my dad's house. I was watching The Pursuit of Happiness.
Wait, you have to tell them, though, that the post that you did wasn't even... Okay.
Yeah. So I'm at my dad's house, February 11th. I'm watching The Pursuit of Happiness. That was my first time watching it. And now it's one of my favorite movies. And I just saw all the stuff he was going through. Like, he was going through so much adversity. And I'm like, man, I feel like this right now. And he finally got his big break. Like, after putting in all his time and work, he finally made it. And so I'm sitting there, and then I started doing a Bible study. And I was like... I pulled out my phone, I just started recording, and I felt like this overwhelming peace. I'm not going to even lie. And I was like, I think what I said in the video, it's muted now. I think the sound that I used on TikTok is like not approved or something. But I think I said, there's no better feeling than knowing that God is all you need. Or whenever God is all you have all you need. And he's everything that you could ever want. And that's all the video was. And so I go to, like, it's late. It's like 11 p.m. And I'm finna go to sleep, and I just go to my page and just to see like how many views it had. And it had like 1,500 in an hour. And at the time, to me, I'm like, oh, I remember telling my pops, like, I think this video finna blow up. And so
that's crazy.
He was like, they just kind of blew it off or whatever. Go to sleep, wake up the next day. It had 10K. I'm like, oh my God. And like previously, it had only had like 300 views max. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So the very video that like put me on the map, I guess you could say, was the one where I started talking about my relationship with God openly instead of just like, you can do this. Blah, blah, blah.
Being just motivational.
Yeah, it was talking about my relationship with the Lord. And then from there, it was like, just up.
And what was that the video that you said that you put into a draft? Like you weren't even you didn't even mean to post it.
It was like, so all of these started as like video diaries to myself, and the reason why I started creating them was because like on TikTok was because I didn't like my iPhone front camera, and I was like, I know I ain't gonna never go back and watch this if I see my face inverted. I just didn't like the way that looked. So I told myself, you know what? I'm gonna just create these on TikTok and post them. I don't know how to save nothing as a draft. I thought it was complicated. I didn't know you could just literally just click draft and then go in there. So that video wasn't supposed to be posted like to the public. It was supposed to be something that was just in a draft. And I ended up posting it,
and that's the one that went.
Yeah,
and that's crazy.
That's how it worked.
That's crazy. So I remember when we were talking last week, you were saying how you've had this confidence that you know that this was like God was going to make you somebody, like you were going to have a voice, and you were going to have a voice in this generation. But was there a shift in wanting to be more motivational and now more biblical? Because was there a shift in you? Like, did it start off, I just want to be like a motivational speaker, but now it's like, I want to be a motivational speaker, but I want to do it with like a biblical context and on the word of God. Was there a shift for you in that?
It wasn't something that I necessarily wanted to do, but that night when I was crying, I remember praying, like my prayer was, God, you know my dream. Like, you know what I've been wanting to do. I've been wanting to be a motivational speaker all my life. I just want to inspire people all around the world. And like, I remember saying, because I had never fully heard or I didn't know I had heard the voice of God before if I did, but that day I knew. And I said, God, if you allow me to do this, I'll tell the world about you. I remember Steve Harvey saying that. I'm like, if it worked for Steve, God, it's got to work. Like, I know it worked. So I said that, and that moment was the first time I ever recall hearing the voice of God. And what was said, it wasn't like an audible voice, but it was like,
you heard it.
Yes.
I know.
The voice said, why can't you tell the world about me now? And then boom. I tried to delay it for a few days, then eventually it got out. So
wow,
I always thought like I'm gonna be a motivational speaker. Shout out to my Jeremy Anderson, Inky Thomas, ET. Like college coaches, college teams and all this stuff. And yeah, doors have been open to that, but I don't think that those doors would have ever been opened if I wouldn't have started talking about God. Because you're going to deal with something that's bigger than a football team or bigger than, blowing a whistle. You're going to deal with something in life.
Yeah. Two things. One, I'm curious, before I ask another question, I'm curious because you said something to me that I thought it was really interesting. You said you were watching the podcast and you would pause it when I would ask a guest a question and you would answer the question just to see what you would say. Yeah. But I'm curious, is there a question that I have asked a guest that, like, what are some of the questions where you paused and was like, I'm going to answer it?
It's literally, like, to be completely honest with you, I did it on my way here. Like, I was watching the one with you and Brenda. Shout out to Brenda, too. Love Brenda. But I've done this since I was a little kid. Like, there will be times, I've always just been fascinated with interviews.
Yeah.
And my favorite athletes and stuff, there would be times I wouldn't listen to music for months on end. I would just listen to their interviews, going to like the Breakfast
Club. I love
Club.
interviews too. I ain't gonna hold you. There's something about, I've been on that tip for like,
I love it. You get to see
years.
A side of a person that like isn't typically there.
And it makes you hear or perceive their work differently.
Right. Yeah.
Like when I hear an interview of someone and then I go and either listen to their music or watch something that they're doing, it brings a different level of perspective to like what they do and appreciation to what they do just by listening to interviews. So I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. But I would like, one question that you, like simple stuff. You asked, I believe it was, I forgot who the guest was, but you asked like, what's your favorite movie? Paused it. And like, this was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And I was like, my favorite movie is Life. Have you ever watched Life?
Love that movie. Yeah. I haven't watched it in years, but when, obviously I was young when it came out.
Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
My favorite movie in the world.
Has a lot of good lessons in it too.
I always, like, I'll just be pausing. That's how I like practice speeches and all this stuff. And so that's how I get my like training in.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to ask you some questions. We'll see how good studies you've done. Okay. What do you feel is the biggest threat to the culture right now?
Popularity. And I say that because I've come from a place where like you don't have any. And then once it get put on you, like immediately, you go from 0 to 100,000 followers in like a month. Like it's if you aren't practicing being that person before you ever get there, once you get there, the boat is gonna sink.
Okay.
I'm telling you, it's gonna sink. So one analogy that I always like to use is the Noah's Ark. Yeah. Like if you truly believe God can make it rain, you would start building the ark. You ain't gonna start building the ark whenever it starts sprinkling, because then it's gonna be too late at that point.
It's gonna be too late.
But like, I think popularity can absolutely derail a person. Yeah. Because you will find yourself doing stuff that like you don't even do just to stay relevant or whatever it is. And my thing, I've never been like the coolest guy in the room. Yeah. Like I've been like, people would tell me in high school, I'm not lying, be like, bro, you lame. I'm like, man, I know, bro. Like that's just who I am. Like I don't know, it's just stuff I would do, and I don't ever feel like ashamed of being me. Yeah. Because I can impersonate people, I can do all these things, but at the end of the day, the best person that I can be, that you can be, that they can be is themselves. Yeah. Like you can't be yourself better than anyone else in this world. So once you get popular or people start noticing you and they start taking a liking to you, you got to be careful, because you can find yourself in some places and spaces that God does not recommend.
And even in the context of trying to do good, like I've shared on this platform before, like when God released me to do In Totality, there came a point where I was making my devotional time with him more about the podcast. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Like I'm trying to make sure that, you know, the Bible says, study yourself to show yourself approved. I'm trying to be approved, but not approved by God, but more so approved. Like I want, you know, it was this thing of, okay, now I have more influence. I have more of a platform. The platform's growing, so I need to be a certain way instead of just allowing the Lord to do his perfect work in me and having a heart that just wants to please him and that being enough. So I think that sometimes even in this desire to be popular, this desire to be known, it's easy to make it look like it's easy to point out the flaw in that in a secular context.
Absolutely.
But there also is a way that we can do it that may even look good, but it's not godly.
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I know exactly. Like, just because it's good does not mean it's God.
And that's the biggest thing that we need to know the difference.
It's huge because it'll have you walking through doors you're not supposed to go through. And the difference between a good door and a God door, one of them is a trap door.
Okay.
And the trap door, it's easy to get in it, but you're going to need God to get you out of it. You know, so I done been through plenty of them. That's the only reason why I can speak about it.
Same.
It's
same.
The worst thing.
And knowing the difference, I think when people are trying to, know more of God and grow in their relationship with him, I know that it can feel like a lot of pressure. Like you have to, there's so much that, especially when you encounter a holy God and you realize how unholy you are. So you feel like there's so much I need to fix. There's so much I need to do. I need to fix this. I need to fix that. I got to stop doing this. I got to stop doing that. And then the works become out of your salvation and the regeneration that God does in your heart and in your life becomes based off of your works and not off of the work that he did at the cross, and just trusting and having faith in him that he will do it. He will complete the work in you. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I just think that that's important. Like, I know that it feels like you have to do so much. I got to read my word. I got to fast. I got to know scripture. I got to know the fundamentals of the faith. I got to be an apologist. There's so much pressure.
Yeah.
And really only thing that the Lord is just looking for is your yes.
That's it.
He's just looking for a willing vessel.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Because he can do way more with your yes than you can do with your no. Like, there are people that I have met that I have never thought I would ever meet. Like Kel Mitchell, one of my, like, somebody I look to as a brother. When I met him, the only thing I was thinking about was, I remember sitting on the floor with my cousins watching Kenan and Kel. Like, I was telling him, like, bro, you used to be my babysitter. You didn't even know it. Like, they'll lock the door. Don't open the door for nobody.
Right.
I'm going to put Kenan and Kel on.
Yeah.
And y'all go to sleep.
Right.
Like, that's how it was. And now it's like, the only reason why I know him is because I said yes to God.
Yeah.
So I feel like what a lot of people are, like, they get a misinterpretation of is, like, the relationship aspect of it.
Yeah.
The Bible ain't a book about religion.
Yeah.
Once you extract the principles and the practices and the promises out of it, you can understand that's why God want me to read this. Because this book, it's like a car, it's like the manual in your car.
For sure.
You ain't even got to go to the maintenance shop if you would read it and buy the tools necessary.
Yeah.
God is saying, this book right here is the one that I designed, and it's the best way for you to live your life. You can read this because you're going to go through something that's in here. Read it. This is the best practice that you can have. But I think sometimes, since it's like so loosely thrown around, and this is a problem with, like, even outside of, like, the father and you relation, the God and you relationship, it's like the man to man relationship is like a term that's so loosely thrown around is relationship goals. And the problem is a lot of people are rushing to goals without standards. Like, the standards are the floor, the goals are the ceiling.
Yeah.
If we build what we supposed to build with the right tools necessary, we can get there.
Yeah.
But before you come into my life, I want you to know, if you're not willing to stand on this, since this is the floor, you're going to have to stand on this if you want to be in my life. Otherwise, like, just
you gotta move.
Yeah, you got to keep going.
Yeah.
And so God is saying, if you want a relationship with me, here's a book to look at my standards for a relationship. I would love to have one with you, but I'm not going.
But not if it's not this.
Yes, I'm not going to compromise just so that I can appease to you. No, I'm not going to do that.
And I think that that's the same way that we have to. I think there's a desire that I see for people to know the Lord, right? There's this influx. I think we can all agree that we've seen this.
Yeah.
There's this influx of new Christians. There's this influx of spirituality. People want to know truth.
Yep.
People are interested in all of the things, right? But I think that where I feel, and you can tell me how you feel about this, but I feel like the Lord is, in this time, in this season, is looking for serious Christians.
Man.
Like, I think he's looking for people who are serious about their faith and serious about their walk and serious about knowing his word. and abiding to his word. I think that there's a seriousness that the Lord is looking for, and not this we playing around.
Yeah, no.
Do you know what I mean? And I feel like there's a lot of playing when
you said something. I think it was with the podcast with Jackie. Maybe you were by yourself. I don't know, but you were saying like, yes, I'm gonna go this hard for. Maybe it was with Lecrae. Like you were saying, like you gonna go hard for God, because you know how far away you were at one point. So now that's how you gonna live your life. And I feel like there are a lot of people like Matthew chapter 7 verse 21. Like many on that day will call to me, Lord, Lord, but you will not enter into the kingdom of heaven.
Scary.
Like that's a scary thing.
The scariest thing I've ever heard.
And I hear people all the time say like, well, I believe, so I'm going to heaven. Unfortunately, your definition of belief and God's are two different things. Because whenever you truly believe something, you're going to be able to see the action behind it. Like you're going to always be able to see the fruit of belief. And if you don't have no action behind your belief, it's simply disbelief. You know, you don't believe enough to change your life. So, and I feel like that's the same case with a lot of us with like going after something. It's just like Abraham in the Bible. Whenever you're doing God's work, you're going to always have to walk away from something that was somebody else's dream. God had to call him into the land. He said, go to a land that I will show you. He had to go in order to know. He didn't know it would become his inherited land or whatever until he went. And God had to call him away from people in his family who I'm sure were like, we've been working all our life to get to where you are. And now you're here and you want to leave? Like, what you want? Why are you leaving? God had to get him away from people that think like that, because those people will have you in the same place for the rest of your life. Evidently, they still there. God is trying to call you to something greater, and that's I agree with you 100%. Like, how serious are you about it? Because you're gonna have to do something that requires you to be uncomfortable.
And I think that's the thing. Like, I'm really encouraged by when I see content creators like you, especially being as young as you are. I think that even though there's so much wisdom and maturity in you, you're still 22. And there's a lot of 22-year-olds that are not serious about their walk with God, or maybe they're living in a context of Christianity, but it's compromised, or, you know, there's whatever. But I'm always encouraged by that, because I feel that the seriousness that you come with is needed for this time. You know what I mean? To stand and say, look, I'm not standing on anything else but this. Like if it's not this, I can't be a part of that. What do you feel is the difference between maybe someone like you who wants to be serious about their walk with the Lord, right? And a 22-year-old that's like, no, I'm still young and I'm just, you know, just vibing, filling it out, YOLO. I'm just, you know, just the Lord is going to do a work, or like, you know, I can't, you know how that type of language is, where it's like, it's compromised. You know what I'm saying? What is the difference between someone like you and what kind of encouragement would you give to maybe someone that's your age that's like, oh, I don't have to be that serious because I'm young?
The first thing I would say is, I'm not going to bash anybody that's my age, older, younger than me, anything, because I know I was once you. So the first thing, I think that's the first step in giving anybody advice, is meeting them where they at, to take them to where they need to go. And I think the difference, though, is a lot of people don't realize that, like, God saw a problem in the earth whenever you would be alive, and he said that you were the one that he wanted to fix it. And he's only giving you so much time to do it. Your lifespan is the exact amount of time that God said this problem should be fixed. So by the time you leave this earth, there should be one less problem in the world. And the last thing that I want to do is get up there face to face with God, and he say, I expected so much more of you. Like you disappointed me. Because I knew what you could do, but you just didn't do it because you were too worried about what they would think of you doing this. So I made the decision early to, like, man, if I can please all these other people like I've been doing all my life, let me go ahead and give God his time, because I gave him 20 years. I gave him 20 years of pleasing him. Like, that's over with now. You know, I want to start doing the right thing and start walking in obedience according to the Lord.
I love that. I think that that's really important, especially right now, is to, like, have just like a boldness. Like, I'm just not, like, I don't care that everybody else is doing that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna stand on this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, and maybe you could speak to this too, like, it is, I'm gonna be honest, it can feel hard
absolutely
to hold that line and to not compromise, or to, it's like, oh, okay, well, I have this platform. Like, I've had to face this, like, oh, I have this platform, so I'm gonna just let anybody come on the platform.
Yeah.
Or I'll just say yes to anybody, or I'll just extend myself to anyone.
Yeah.
And even being able to kind of hold that line of like, although you might have been somebody I looked up to or somebody that I had high esteem for.
Yeah.
Now that I know more about my word and I don't feel like you're aligning with that, like, I'm still not going to compromise my platform.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, I feel like God even wants that. And I don't know if everyone is aware that, like, yes, he wants your life privately, but I believe the Lord also wants your life publicly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, I think he cares about who you align yourself with.
Yes.
I think he cares about who you're in fellowship with. You know what I mean? Even for us who have a platform. So I don't know if that's something that you've experienced or how you feel about that, because having a platform is different than just being
it is, and one thing that I'm very thankful for, and I thank God for it every day, is putting me in community with
the right people,
with godly people, right? Because there's a difference between a good person and a godly person. There's going to be a lot of good people in hell, unfortunately, but you will never find a godly person in hell. And God has really positioned me around some godly people, from my teammates in college, Kendall Givens, to somebody that I truly look to as a big sister now in Black China, like someone that I like. Whenever you get a platform and it's like you're pushed into it. God is basically God saying, I trust you with this now, but you still got to live life. And it's like, okay, what do I do here?
Yeah.
And so just having people that you can go to and be like, man, like, I appreciate you. Like, I'm going through this. How do I deal with this? How do I handle this situation? Or stuff like that. And I would like to say this. One person that has helped me so much with my walk with Christ, and they don't even know it, is Odell Beckham Jr.
Really?
Helped me, like, tremendously. He's the one who really, like, jump-started my walk with Christ. Because, like, I mean, he was, like, the hottest thing out when I was coming up. And so just seeing how he was the biggest thing in the world, and he was so he was unbothered by what anyone would say about him and his faith. I was like, that's the relationship with God I want.
Yeah.
And so hats off to Odell, hats off to all of them, but, like, he's someone who has influenced me so much. And people can say whatever they want about him, but once you truly know the person and the heart behind the person, it's like, man, like, God has really worked on you.
Yeah. I love that. And I love that you are now being able to be a person that people can look up to, where there's, just no compromise. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's important that the fruit of our lives be evident of what God has done in us. You know what I mean? It's like, it's one thing to say, I'm a Christian, I love the Lord and all that stuff, but is your life reflecting that? Is there fruits of that? And I just think that, especially for, like, y'all's generation, you're about 10 years younger than me. And I have Jordan, who's also your age, who lives with me and who's like a little sister or daughter to me. We have these conversations all the time about y'all's age group. And how bold you guys are about truth. But they're,
they be saying some crazy stuff.
Y'all are different. But I love that when you know the truth. What I love about your generation is that when y'all do know the truth, there's nothing that can move you off of that. Like, y'all gonna stand on that 10 toes down. And so anytime that I see, people your age, content creators, especially in the Christian context, I think that is just super dope. That, like, my kid, my oldest is 14, and so, like, he'll have somebody to look up to, and he'll have somebody that he can identify with that looks like him. You know what I mean? That's not like when you looked at Sadie said something that changed your life and like really did something in you, right? But like, how much more impactful would it have been if there was somebody that looked like you?
Lecrae. That's who it was. Like,
or look like, when you saw Lecrae.
And it was something so simple. It was nothing that he said in like an interview or anything. Well, it was an interview actually. It was the Genius interview, and I still go back and watch it to this day. He was like, "I was eating fried bologna out of the pan. Y'all don't understand. Out of the pan, y'all don't understand." It was in one of his songs with Ty Dolla $ign, and he was saying like he didn't know that was struggle food.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh,
yeah.
So he like, because you get this perception when people get a platform that
they
like,
forget
they've been rich their whole life, but like, no, they had to get there. And so I remember cooking bologna while I was watching that interview, and I'm like, wait a minute, I can be like this, like I can do what he doing. And so he really influenced me, and just obviously the music aspect. But that's, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I just think that that's encouraging to that. Yeah, I just like anytime that I see your videos come up, I'm just encouraged by it. I'm just like, appreciate I love that. And I pray that, the Lord continues to send solid people in your life. I pray that the Lord continues to reveal himself to you so that you know truth and that and to know how to navigate through, because you're a year in to this.
It's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Crazy. And you blew up crazy. I mean, you went from nothing to almost 500,000 followers. And so I think my biggest prayer for you is just that the Lord just protects you and cover you and that you don't compromise, and that you just stand firm on his word and allow the Holy Spirit to lead you into all truth, right? Allow the Holy Spirit to convict you. Allow the Holy Spirit to order your steps and guide you so that you know who to say yes to and who not to say yes to. Because that's a really big thing. You need to know who to say yes to and who not to say yes to.
Yeah.
And even to what to say, and to give you the boldness and the courage to say the hard things. Because I think that we're coming on those times too.
Yeah.
Where we're gonna have to say some hard stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Like, I'm sorry, like, y'all, this is so crazy to me. Like, I'm really sitting on the couch with her right now. This the rug off the TV.
Not this the rug.
Oh my gosh.
I'm
sorry. That was boiling up in me. I had to say
you're fine. So tell me, before we go, two things. Tell me what do you want to do? I know you want to be I know you want to motivate people and encourage them to know the Lord. But what does that look like? Is there like a specific thing that you want to do, or what do you have? Like, what are the desires that you have?
Really, I'm about to. This is the first time I'm saying this too.
Okay.
Because
really in Totality exclusive.
Yeah.
Okay.
About to start a podcast. Actually.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm like, I think that people would probably be expecting that, right?
They've been in my DMs talking crazy, but I'm about to start a podcast, and it's gonna be like, because I never found a place where I could go and like learn the Bible the way it's supposed to be taught. For like the football players and male athletes and stuff like that. It's not gonna be male dominant, but like that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Come on here, let's get in the word.
I love that.
Get a little motivation too, and also just have some people on that you don't really know the person, you just know their profession.
Yeah, I love that. It's kind of like like the chaplain. Like, I know for sports, my mom wanted to be a chaplain. She has her master's in divinity, and she wanted to be like an NFL chaplain because there's not a lot of female chaplains in the NFL or professional sports or whatever. And so my mom wanted to do that, but that would be really cool, like a podcast where it's like, it's kind of like the locker room.
I got the
chapel.
name, but since we ain't got it out, I ain't
don't say it yet. Don't say it. Don't say it yet.
Stuff.
So who are some of like top 3 guests that you want on the podcast for?
We gotta get you on there.
Yeah, listen, I would be honored, but I'm not a sports person, so I don't really know a whole lot about the sports, but I do know the Bible, so I can come and help with that.
We gotta get Odell.
Okay.
Steph Curry is somebody that I think would come on. And I don't know, probably like CJ Stroud.
Okay.
Someone like that, yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna work it out though.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's exciting. So when can we expect to hear the news of the podcast? I'm excited for you.
I would say the beginning of Middle of August.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Middle
That's
of
dope.
August 2024. I don't know when you're watching this.
Okay.
But yeah.
That'll be soon. That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's exciting. I'm excited for it. I'm definitely gonna be praying that that just the Lord leads you and all that. So we do a journal entry. I try to give them a journal prompt at the end of every episode.
This heavy.
Yeah.
Right
So I would love for you to give our audience a journal prompt for this week. After our conversation, what would be like a good journal prompt for them?
I would say, what's holding you back? Like, what fear is stopping you from doing the thing that you actually want to do and that you know God has called you to do? I feel like that's a prompt. And like, be honest with yourself. If it's your mama saying like it ain't gonna work, write that down. But like how you frame it is a depiction of how you fight it. So write down every reason why. Because if you don't frame it right, you won't fight it right. You're going to be fighting the wrong stuff with the right tools. So,
that's good. Mm-hmm. That's good. What's keeping you? What's holding you back? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. I think that those are, I like good journal prompts that provoke like a critical thinking process. Yeah. Like this is going to make you really think and really like dig deep and get to the root of it. So that's a good journal prompt. I love that. Do you have any questions for me? Do you have anything that you want to know about podcasting? Anything I can help you with? Any advice about podcasting, especially in this space?
Question. What's your favorite candy?
Ooh, what's my favorite candy?
Do you like candy or do you like chocolate candy? Like, you know what I'm saying? I got a sweet tooth out of this world.
I do too, but it's changing a little bit. Now that I'm getting older, I feel like it's changing. I like candy wise right now, I feel like I'm on like this Starburst thing right now.
Regular or unwrapped?
The red ones, wrapped.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I don't like the little mini ones where you just dig. I don't like those. They taste different. They taste like plastic. They do not taste the same. Not real. I don't like those.
They're not right.
Yeah, those are filled with like something else. But regular Starburst, the pink ones, like I don't want any of the other ones.
Okay.
I just want the pink ones.
That's smooth.
Yeah. That's what I'm on right now.
Yeah. That's like, are you a beginner candy eater?
No, I feel like I said, I have a sweet tooth, but now that I'm getting older, things change.
Yeah.
You ain't there yet, but things change in your 30s,
yeah,
right?
I be eating candy for breakfast. Ice cream sandwiches and everything. And I'm lactose intolerant.
So you just out here.
Turn that ice cream up every morning.
Oh, to be 22 and no kids, single, just out here eating ice cream sandwiches for breakfast and stuff. Just loving the Lord, doing my own thing. That's not a bad life.
Fun.
That's not a bad life.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't eat ice cream sandwiches for breakfast. In like 3 years, you're going to have to give that up.
Okay.
So like 25. When's your birthday?
Next month.
Okay.
July 29th.
You got 2 more years.
Give me a gift.
July 29th. Make sure your Cash App, send the DMs.
I wouldn't.
All the stuff. But don't, you're going to have to slow down on ice cream sandwiches.
Ice cream sandwiches though? Bluebell with the little girl on the box like.
You're gonna have to, especially being lactose intolerant, like you gotta chill.
Look, because
it's gonna catch up to you.
If I overpower the lactose intolerance, then I can eat them though.
What you mean?
Like in my head, this is how I think. If I eat a lot of it, it's gonna cancel it out.
It's not though. It doesn't work that way. You're going to get 30 and you're going to be like, yo, I should have never did that.
I think that's a challenge. So I'm gonna keep doing it till I'm 30. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep going.
No. Okay. Well, at least at some point in 2 years, you're gonna have to incorporate some vitamins.
Oh yeah. I be eating.
Oh, okay.
I be eating like green beans.
Jason.
I'll be eating green beans, pizza. I had pizza yesterday.
That's not a vegetable.
It's okay though. I can put some on there though. What them little things called? Them little black things on the pizza?
Olives.
That's them. Yeah.
That's not a vegetable. Is olives vegetables?
That ain't a fruit.
It's not one that's about to help you.
Hey.
Okay. So this is what we're going to be praying for Jason.
Yeah. I need prayer. I need deliverance.
Jason, we need you to eat healthy because we need you around, right?
Well, look, though.
We have to take care of our vessel so that the Lord can do and work through us. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to myself, too, because I don't work out. So, like, I got to be better, too.
Even when I was in college playing football, I used to eat 4 Snickers before practice. That was my breakfast.
But that's, you burning. That's not good. But you was also working out.
Yeah, okay.
But are you working out right now? Like,
not as hard. Like, I ain't training for football.
Okay, so you're gonna have to cut down on the sandwiches.
We'll see.
On the ice cream sandwiches. Because you ain't out there training no more.
I'll cut down on that.
At least not for breakfast. Like, do like a midday. You know?
Two
maybe not 2. Maybe like 1 in the afternoon. Jason?
All right, cool.
Maybe do some, Frosted Flakes in the morning.
No? With some sugar on them.
I ain't gonna hold you. I still put sugar on my Frosted Flakes. Do not say nothing to me. I don't want to hear no comments. I promise you, I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear anything.
I'm gonna go crazy.
I will block you, matter of fact, if you say anything about me putting sugar on my Frosted Flakes. It's something about it, but I don't put my sugar on the top. I put it at the bottom of the bowl. And then I put the cereal and the milk in, and I like to scrape the bottom of, shut up, Jay. I like to scrape the bottom of the bowl so I get the sugar and the Frosted Flake. Like the sugar's underneath.
Milk before the cereal or cereal before the milk?
Cereal before the milk.
Listen, I heard a little kid tell me this once. He probably gonna grow up to be on TV on the news. He said it's always cereal before the milk unless it's late at night and you don't want nobody to hear you. Then you pour the milk before the cereal. So
why?
He said so they don't hear it hitting the bowl. He gonna be a criminal one day.
For sure. This man is a menace. For sure. No, I think people who put milk before cereal, something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Something's not right with you.
Go get checked up.
Yeah, you need the Lord to like do some work in your heart.
Yeah.
It's giving psychopath. It's giving psychopath. Okay. Well, yeah, this was fun. I'm glad I got to meet you.
I'm glad I got to meet you.
And I'm glad you got to be it's the looking around.
No, like y'all they know what I mean. You ain't us, so you don't know. You've been you your whole life. I've been one of them before.
Wait,
are them the lights that you had on for Christmas?
Dang. Oh, not my Christmas lights. I did have them on for Christmas though.
Oh, wait, you didn't take them down? I mean, that's none of my business.
Because okay, I'm not gonna hold you. This tree came with lights, and it's not a Christmas tree.
Oh, okay.
So it's just supposed to be like, at night there's a little bit of light in the room.
Yeah, I feel you.
But you really are one of them because they was coming for me too when I had them on. They was like, "Dang, Megan, you ain't take your Christmas decorations down." I said, "Mind your business. Those aren't Christmas decorations. That's just
Okay, then.
But it's Jason looking like, no, they definitely is giving December 25th.
Hey, you ain't got to do no work.
I love this. Make sure you guys follow Jason on everything. He's on TikTok, blowing up. He's on Instagram, going crazy. I'm waiting for you to write a book or a journal or something. I'm ready for something.
The one right here, I'll leave with you.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
I'm going to take all your good stuff, all your little one-liners. I'm taking it. Where else can anybody find you? Do you have a YouTube?
I do, but we about to change it to the
podcast?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we'll be looking for the news in August. Listen, guys, make sure you follow Jason, support him, love on him, pray for him, especially going into something new like a podcasting. I just think you need prayer and covering because it's just a whole nother beast. But it's good though. It's good work. It's good fruit. And yeah, make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube. Make sure you join the Village, the Patreon community. If you don't have a Patreon yet, you need to get a Patreon community, and I will help you with that.
Okay.
I want you to have a Patreon. I think that would be dope for you. But make sure you join my Patreon community, the Village, exclusive content, bonus content. You're actually gonna see bonus content from Jason. If you join Patreon, there's some bonus content of Jason that you don't want to miss out on. And yeah, I love you guys, and I will see you next week.
See y'all.